Hey Capricorn, this is Michael with your tarot and astrology reading for the month of May 2022. Welcome. We are almost halfway through the year and we have quite a bit going on astrologically this month. We have the lunar eclipse happening on the 16th. We have Mercury going retrograde, and Jupiter is actually entering the sign of Aries. Those are kind of the main events of this month. And there's just so many things that are shifting. And as I was connecting with your energy, Capricorn, and really pulling cards, which are already on the table for you, things felt very cloudy. And your emotions may be clouding your perceptions, or things might just not feel very clear, which is a little interesting because it's like there's moments where it felt super clear and then you're doubting yourself again. Um, that was really, really interesting to me. It feels like there's sort of this oscillation between feeling sure and then not feeling sure of yourself. That could be something that is also happening throughout this month as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Something might seem really clear one day, and then the next day you're kind of like, oh, I'm not really so sure. And that makes a lot of sense with Mercury being retrograde as well. That definitely kind of checks, to be honest. But yeah, before we get too far into this video, I just want to thank all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes, and an extra special thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. It's with any and all of your support that I'm able to continue putting out these messages and doing this incredible work, and seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so, so much. I'm so appreciative for all of you. I am also running a sale on my website, so if you're looking for a Reiki session or a reading with me, all of that is 15% off through the 16th if you use the code ECLIPSE. And all of my links are in the description box down below, as well as links for, or kind of the names of all the decks that I'm using, because I get asked that pretty much every single video, so if you ever wonder, it's usually in the description box. Anyways, Capricorn, I am eager to kind of share these cards with you. The first card I actually pulled was the Five of Cups in reverse. And to be honest with you, this was kind of one of the cards that was hard for me to read for you right away. It gave me this vibe of like, it doesn't feel like you're over the Five of Cups. It doesn't feel like you're over a disappointment, which could be something that's potentially indicated with this card. There was a disappointment. I even get like breaking point with this actually, like something festered for way too long, or something had been going on for way too long. And I got the sense you just saw a situation as it was, even if you didn't fully understand what it was at the time. There was something that was clarified. Like, there might have been a relationship, there might have been a person or a situation that you knew wasn't good, and it was really hard to, like, have something end with that situation or with that person, but you knew it kind of had to happen. Like, it didn't really surprise you, but then something else happened, or you discovered something else, and it was like, oh man, yeah, that totally, almost like you dodged a bullet, especially with the Seven of Swords in reverse. Someone was caught red-handed, or they told you something was revealed. And to be honest, I don't even necessarily get like a relationship vibe. This actually feels more casual. If this is kind of a romantic thing or a dating context, this doesn't necessarily feel like someone you have a long term relationship with. Of course, these are general readings, so that may not be true for all of you. Just take the parts that resonate and leave the rest behind. And maybe check out another video if this one just doesn't resonate. You're welcome to look at your moon or rising sign. There could be something there for you as well. Um, but yeah, there really is something about a situation where I don't feel like you were so super invested in it, or it wasn't something that was like a very set in stone commitment, but someone kind of did you dirty. And maybe this isn't even one thing. Maybe this is multiple things. Maybe this is about work. Maybe this is about people who have been in your life that you've kind of dated. It feels, it's interesting with the King of Wands and the Seven of Cups here. It almost feels like someone put on a front, or someone's been putting on a front. I really get the sense, maybe this is a different face playing a same game, but I actually get the sense that this is one person for some of you, where it's like someone has kind of lied to you or deceived you or manipulated you in some way, and you know that. You know it happened. But now this person is so good at like spinning things that even you yourself are kind of questioning what's going on. And with this King of Wands energy, it's like, I'm going to be honest, a little narcissistic vibe I'm kind of getting. Um, it's almost like someone who has the illusion of this King of Wands, which can be a very capable leader, someone who's very wise or very mature and has learned from their experiences. I feel like that's energy you've felt before. You can kind of tell when someone is not authentically in this King of Wands energy. They're not authentically the leader, or it's just not aligned for them. They have this sort of like ego trip to the thing, to them, or the thing that they do. And they kind of play it off like they don't have an ego, but they do. This is really specific. Please let me know in the comments down below who this is in your life. It's very, very interesting, and I do feel like it's kind of split in this group who this actually is, whether this is a romantic thing, like a dating thing, or if this is somebody else or another type of relationship. Maybe we can clarify more of that in a moment. But for kind of the middle cards here, we had the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Coins, or Ace of Pentacles, in the reverse. Kind of an interesting thing here. The Ace of Cups is what I got first. And that's where I sort of wonder if this is like a romantic thing for some people. And needing to trust your intuition as well, things might not make sense in May. You might just need to kind of trust your intuition on certain things, especially when Mercury is retrograde. Sometimes things aren't what they appear to be, or things just don't really make a whole lot of sense. And specifically with Mercury going retrograde in Gemini and then back into Taurus even, there could be stuff that's happening with work or routines or coworkers in particular. This actually could be someone, maybe this person you dated is a coworker or has some sort of work connection. That's actually possible for some of you. Yeah, that's just something I'm kind of getting. The thing that you really need to do this month is introspect, Capricorn. We have the Ace of Swords with the Hermit coming out together. It was actually the Hermit that came out first. And I really saw that as needing to gain perspective, or you need to gain perspective, and maybe that's hard throughout most of the month. You're kind of in the midst, or you're in someone's influence, is kind of what I get there. And I don't even necessarily think that this person is lying to you or that people are lying to you in a specific situation, and that's why it might feel confusing. But I do kind of wonder if there is someone in your life who genuinely thinks they changed or is trying to make promises that they can't keep, with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Coins in reverse. So that's very interesting to me. I feel like I'm going to need to clarify more of this in a moment, but I'm going to kind of finish the spread that we have on the table. For the future, we do have the Queen of Swords and the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups very much is about needing to distance ourselves from a situation or our emotions. And I see the Queen of Swords with the Queens kind of representing water and the Swords representing air or the mind. It is very much, this month very much is the relationship between your mind and emotions. And how sometimes you might see things that you want to see, or how sometimes you might see things that you're afraid to see, and your emotions are really like back and forth. And I'm noticing at the bottom of the animal deck here, the dolphin card. And I think of the sonar, I think of the echolocation, but it feels like there's this disruption for you. Like there's something that is disrupting your sonar. And, this could actually be pertaining to friendships or someone who is a kindred spirit in that way too. There could be miscommunications with friends or social groups or communities, especially with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. There could actually be something that's happening there that's quite destabilizing for you anyways. So that's kind of interesting. This might be a friend, but it doesn't feel like it's just one kind of relationship. It feels like it's either a friend where there was a romantic thing, or a friend that you work with, or kind of like a person you dated who you worked with, or a person you dated who's a friend. Like there's a combination of roles of an individual around you who is a source of confusion for you this month, and probably has been a source of confusion leading into May before this month as well. I get that. And I think you're now at this point where it's like, I need to find clarity for myself. I need to know what's right by me, because I'm not going to get my clarity from this person. And maybe they don't even necessarily know where they're at or who they are, or maybe these people don't know who they are or where they're at. And I need to really figure things out for myself right now. I kind of need to go within. And some people might even mistake this as coldness on your part, or even just being like very calculating or very, sharp with your tongue. Like it might come across that way to some people with those swords, with the Ace of Swords and the Queen of Swords, but that's not how it comes across to me, which is kind of interesting. Some of you might be retreating or traveling in some way, and it's kind of helping you get some perspective. There could actually be a teacher or a mentor that you are talking to who's helping you see things from a different perspective. It's like when you're in this really emotional place, whether the emotions are really, really high or really, really low, in general, you can kind of be sure that it's not going to be the most accurate. Like, it's important for you to have a very central and balanced kind of feeling in your body, and to let emotions really run their course before you make a judgment call. And I think that's especially important with Mercury retrograde. Try and not rush into any decisions if that is possible. And if there are decisions that you need to make, maybe there's something that breaks down, or maybe there's just a conversation that like you need to have. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to do those things, because if anything, we should just think of those as tying up loose ends, talking about the things that just needed to be talked about a long time ago. Mercury retrograde is about wrapping up those loose ends, finishing old projects, but rather than jumping into new things. So there is kind of this cleanup that is going on for you. And this Taurus energy is very interesting because there is something with passion, and again, like that could be about dating. And maybe this isn't even someone from the past. Again, maybe it's just like a similar energy to things you've experienced before, and you're kind of confused. Is this coming from me? Is this coming from them? And it's interesting that the answer is it kind of depends. You're not going to know that right away this month, and you kind of just have to accept that or be okay with that, or really introspect and figure out some things for yourself. And it's kind of interesting when the tarot is like, nah, you got to figure this out. Sorry, boo. So that's kind of what it feels like the cards are saying. I am going to try and pull a little more for you, Capricorn. I want to get a little more and just see if there's something else. Is there anything else we should be aware of, or anything else that we should clarify? Is there anything else we should be aware of for Capricorn? Are there any messages for Capricorn? Yeah, there could be something with friendships, actually, with the Three of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Let me clarify that a little more. Misunderstanding fate. I don't know why that's how I want to read that. Maybe some of you are trying to figure out, like, what a person's role or relationship is to you in your life. That's actually the thing that's giving me the most buzz. And maybe that's the thing that is kind of confusing you. It's like, well, maybe this person isn't like a romantic thing. Maybe this is a friendship, or maybe this is someone I'm supposed to work with something, or work on something with. And I don't think you're going to know that. And I think maybe on some level you just got to wait for things to develop. But I think it is also like, there are some insights that you need to have about something first. I do also feel like maybe as a separate energy, maybe this is the energy we've been talking about. I'm feeling like with friends and the thing that's happening around the Scorpio eclipse, it's like there's people who are repeating the same cycles over and over and over again in your friend group. And maybe you're the one where you're kind of evaluating these relationships. I think you do need to distance yourself from some people. Excuse me. Nine of Swords. Yeah, sometimes when this card shows up, we can't really think clearly. There could be some anxiety, there could be some tension, there could be some sleeplessness, some insomnia here. Sleep paralysis is how this card really looks to me. Just feeling paralyzed by your own mind. And it is kind of like your mind is playing tricks on you. And it's you trying to get to the truth of something this month, or trying to understand a situation or relationship or relationships. And maybe it's all of these things, honestly, for some of you. Is there anything else? There could also be something with home and family, because Jupiter is entering Aries for you, as is Mars. There could be some conflict maybe, but I almost wonder if some of you are traveling home or connecting with home in some way, and that's something that's helping you gain perspective, or connecting with your ancestors, connecting with your past. That actually might be this Eight of Cups energy. Or this could just be going back to the basics. whether that's with your spiritual practices or teachings or beliefs. Whoa, a lot of cards here. That's too many. Is there anything else? The Star, needing to heal. I feel like some of you are connecting to something mystical and something that you don't even necessarily need to understand. You don't need to understand everything right now. It's just going to kind of make sense over time, and things need to kind of settle. And if someone is trying to get you to commit to something or really connect with you and you're not feeling it, don't be afraid to give yourself the time. Don't be afraid of missing out. Like, if that person or that situation doesn't stick around or you kind of miss it, it wasn't really meant for you. I'm also getting like the shooting star sort of metaphor or the comet kind of metaphor. Like, there's this person who might keep coming in and out of your life and it feels so spiritual and impactful, and then they leave and you're like, why do I have this connection, or why is this a pattern in my life? And you're kind of peeling that back. But I really don't think you're going to have all the answers by the end of this month, and you don't need them by the end of this month either. I want to pull an animal card for you now. Ooh, wow, okay, the fox is very much describing that shooting star or comet kind of energy, where it's like there's this beautiful thing that comes into your life and just as soon as it appears, it disappears. That's kind of the trickster fox energy. And sometimes when this card shows up, we need to follow it. We need to kind of see what happens. And the fox often has this sort of mythology with shape-shifting or being kind of a trickster. So again, there's this sort of thing where it's like, who is this person really? What is this situation really? What is this really about? But there's also kind of this like playful, fun magic about here. And the sea serpent, healing your sacral chakra, healing your emotional center. And emotions in general, again, like when I think of the sea serpent, it's being present with our emotions and kind of just riding the waves. And it almost feels like between Mercury being retrograde and the eclipse season, that's really all you can do, honestly. And once you ride those waves, once you feel those feelings, once you let them pass through you, as opposed to resisting them, you gain a different perspective. I feel like some of you do have a sort of mentor, whether this is someone you were talking to, a therapist, some sort of coach, maybe a reader or a healer, or even just someone online that you follow. It feels like there is someone who is helping you sort through some things this month and helping you understand your own feelings. And maybe that is involving things like attachment styles. Honestly, that's not even what it feels like, though, for you. Maybe figuring out the way your own mind works. Maybe you're neurodivergent, and that's something you're really understanding this month, and you're seeing how your mind works differently from other people. One more animal card, okay. No. Okay, I'm supposed to pull an angel card for you, and I'm gonna read this from the book. I'm honestly not super familiar with this deck. There's just a lot in this reading that I don't understand, and I feel like you're quite puzzled as well by things. And you're wanting answers, but it feels like they're not quite coming. Let me keep shuffling here. This deck is also just really hard to shuffle, so it's hard to tell. It's like, is this the card that's trying to come out, or is it just my hands? Whoa! Okay, we got two. Interesting. So we have Uriel, the Angel of Flame, and Shateiel. Shateiel? I actually have never heard this name before. The Angel of Silence. This kind of feels like the Eight of Cups we were talking about. I'm just going to read both of these. So let's see. Uriel. And if I'm not mistaken, this book isn't completely in alphabetical order, so this may take me a moment. I do apologize for that. Uriel, where are you? Angel of Flame. Well, we have one of you. Oh, there it was. Okay. So Uriel. Wild and unwieldy, restraint is unthinkable. Uriel cannot be bound. The flames peel back the dark like silken fabric. The heat licks the edge of your awareness as you turn to meet it. You are consumed. The rhythms of heat and passion and flesh fill your mind. It comes over you like a wave, pressing your consciousness into your body. You can no longer think. You can only feel. Sensations tremble through your being. Uriel knows nothing but yearning. Look into the balefire of Uriel, and it will expose your heart and leave you writhing in desire. A brazier, a stallion, and a tongue are all signs of Uriel. And that's interesting because, Taurus energy does represent your fifth house, which represents passion. And there was this thing, I did wonder if there was someone who was kind of like a sexual partner. It didn't feel like a serious relationship necessarily, or like an intensely emotional relationship. It was more casual. This kind of reminds me of this energy, so that's interesting that that came through. Yeah, that's very interesting. And almost learning through desire and connecting with that part of yourself. And that is also very connected to the sacral as well, because sacral has to do with pleasure, it has to do with sensuality. There actually could be something here this month that's very focused on sexuality and exploring sexuality in a different way. And maybe that's the thing that's also bringing up a whole bunch of confusing emotions for you. So we have Shateiel. I wish I knew how to pronounce this name. Shateiel. Words fail. The wind dies. The earth comes to rest. Shateiel descends in stillness. New forms for all things emerge, touched by the elusive fingers of the angel Shateiel. Space fills with silence and void gains new meaning. We are held still by the grip of its presence. Fear is useless, as its presence is almost always brief. Silence slides over your ears, enveloping your awareness completely. as if you've closed your eyes. Take a moment, take silence within you, and use it to still the tremors of your soul. Chatael wills it. Signs include a feather, a chair, and a person kneeling. Very interesting energies, and I don't know if these are angels or beings you are connecting with, but this is the deck that rang for me, which is surprising. I don't think I've ever even used this in one of my zodiac readings before. And it is the Angelarium, just in case I forget to put this deck in the description box. But yeah, those are all the messages I have for you this month, Capricorn. I feel like the thing you need to actually do is find the power in the stillness and the uncertainty. I know that's not always the most fun thing to do. It's easier said than done, but I feel like that is actually the energy for you this month. So I hope that this reading was helpful. I apologize if it was a little hard or difficult to interpret or read. Definitely feel free to check out some of the other videos, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great and happy May. I am sending you all the blessings, and I hope you find this clarity. Take care.